ADH is made by the supraoptic nucleus in the hypothalamus and then stored in the posterior pituitary gland. When the osmoreceptors are stimulated by the high blood osmolarity, or if the angiotensin II receptor is stimulated by low blood pressure, ADH is dumped into these capillaries that carry the ADH into the bloodstream. ADH is then carried to the primary cells in the collecting duct located in the kidneys via the bloodstream. On the basolateral membrane side of the cell, there are vasopressin type 2 receptors. ADH binds to this receptor, thus activating a G-stimulatory protein. This G-stimulatory protein is usually bound to GDP, but it is now bound to GTP, which activates it. G-stimulatory protein then moves along the membrane and activates the enzyme adenylate cyclase. When adenylate cyclase is activated, it cleaves off a phosphate from the G protein and turns GTP back into GDP, thus deactivating the G protein. Adenylate cyclase also converts ATP into the second messenger cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP activates protein kinase A, which activates two pathways. One pathway is when protein kinase A goes to the nucleus and stimulates certain genes that undergo transcription, translation, and make specific proteins called aquaporin type 2. These aquaporins go to the endoplasmic reticulum, then into the Golgi apparatus where they are packed into vesicles. The second pathway is when protein kinase stimulates the vesicle through phosphorylation reactions, causing the vesicle to fuse into the apical membrane side of the cell. Now, instead of the water getting lost into the urine, water can now go into the cell through the aquaporin type 2s. The water that goes in then goes out of the cell through aquaporin types 3 and 4 that are permanently in the basolateral membrane. When water washes out of the cell, it moves into the blood, thus increasing the plasma membrane, increasing the blood pressure, and decreasing the blood osmolality. Let's say these are some smooth muscle cells. On these muscle cells is the vasopressin type 1 receptor instead of the vasopressin type 2 receptor that was previously mentioned. ADH binds to this receptor and activates a GQ mechanism that increases the calcium concentration in the muscle cells. This causes the muscle cells to contract, thus constricting the blood vessels, leading to a higher blood pressure.